since Ned's died.
Ned's fall from grace. Amazing grace. And with that, I think we'll go to our small council.
I like that very
before
much.
Sansa gets stripped and clean. Oh, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. I am your host, Zach, and sitting here, right here, next to me, my co-host, Nate.
Yo.
Also my brother.
I thought you seemed like you had forgotten your name for a second there.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, we read A Song of Ice and Fire here. Currently reading Clash of Kings, and we are full spoiler, so we do talk about it as if it's something you've read before. So if you have not, you should probably do that and then come back. Last episode, we were reading Catelyn 3.
Cat 3.
It was a cool episode.
Meeting of two stubborn brothers.
Yeah. And Catelyn.
And Cat.
She was there too. So it was, just Cat, Stannis, and Renly chatting up on a hill. Renly offered a peach. Stannis threatened to kill everybody. They all went on their way.
Good times, yeah. Stannis offered Renly till the dawn to strike his banners and come over to him or he would be destroyed. Renly was having none of that because he's got a huge army. And Catelyn was exasperated as fuck by the both of them and just wanted to go back to River Run. And so it's interesting here because that Cat chapter, this Sansa chapter, and the next Cat chapter all happen within the same day.
Yeah.
So Catelyn is the start of the day and then she asks at the end of that chapter to go back to the village that they had passed to pray at the Sept, since they had no Sept near Renly's camp. And then we jump here to Sansa, and we get a couple hours, basically midday to dusk at this point, or nightfall. And then Catelyn's picks up at dusk as well, and goes into the next Catelyn. So it's
Sansa falls asleep for a few days and stuff after
it's an interesting little collection of chapters. But
yeah.
So,
this chapter, we are reading Sansa. So last
Sansa
chapter,
3, yeah.
we read Sansa. Last time we saw Sansa in Sansa 2. Where was she?
King's Landing.
Good call. Well done.
Wow.
Good on you. So she had met up with Ser Dantos, I believe.
Yeah.
And so that's going to carry over a bit into this chapter. But yeah, so she had saved Ser Dantos. He had left her a letter to meet in the Godswood. And she was given a little bit of hope, because now he's going to help her escape King's Landing at some point. So we open this chapter as she is getting dressed, and rushed by the Hound, because she's doing everything she can to get pretty for the king. But yeah, that's all we know at the moment, is that Joffrey summoned her, and the Hound is there to...
The longer you keep him waiting, the worse it's going to be for you. Great advice. Yeah, she's nervous. Her fingers are fumbling because she's afraid that Joffrey has found out about her meetings with Ser Dantos. And so she's trying to make herself look as pretty as possible because Joffrey likes her pretty. She had even chosen a gown and a color that he had favored and liked. And she makes sure that the fabric is pulled tight across her chest. Like, even in our Winter sample chapters for Sansa, for Elaine, she acts like she doesn't know that sex is a weapon, but she does here. She's, making sure to wear a dress that's showing off what breasts she does have. And so she is using it. She's just not aware that she's using it. Work it, girl. And they leave after she gets dressed, and she makes sure to walk on the Hound's left side away from the burned ass portion of his face.
And she asks him, what did she do this time? Like, why is she being summoned? And he's like, I don't know. Not you. Who knows?
Your kingly brother, he tells her. And she just goes through the litany. Robb is a traitor. And she knew the words by heart now. She even thinks to herself.
But she worries because she doesn't know what Robb could have done. And if he's done anything to hurt Jaime, then she's as good as dead.
She did.
Done. Because then they don't have anything to bargain in the North with for her. Nothing that's worth her life, her level.
Which everyone says Sansa's dumb, but that's a pretty... accurate assessment of it. And then she, from there, thinks of Sir Ilyn in Ice and his terrible, terrible eyes, the way he's just become this symbol of death to Sansa now.
Yeah, which, if you remember back in Game of Thrones, she had her own little vision or Bran had the vision of the 3 dark figures standing over her, and one of them was Sir Ilyn, and he had that same just deathly appearance about him.
But the Hound snorts, just saying, "They trained you well, little bird," to her. Robb is a traitor, yada, yada, yada. And they cross into the lower Bailey, and it's pretty full. There's a bunch of people here. Stable hands are eyeing her insolently.
Yeah.
But Ser Horace Redwine averted his gaze as she passed, and his brother Hobber pretended not to see her at all. So the Redwines are like, yeah, no, she's fucked. So
we don't work with that kind of person right now.
And a yellow cat was dying on the ground, mewling piteously, a crossbow quarrel through its ribs.
Yeah, so everyone's gathered in the archery area.
I want to hold a skip, and a skirt real quick. Pretty much every time we've been in King's Landing, we've gotten mention of a cat.
Yeah.
Through Arya, then Tyrion saw the old crone holding one, and now Sansa's got one dying. Like, is there some cat bullshit that I'm not picking up on? Like,
most likely.
Is this...
Arya's going to return. She's going to be the crazy cat lady ruling thousands of cats in King's Landing because she wargs into Balerion the Dread, the big black Tom that's a big old crazy mean cat. And it's just going to be wild. It's going to be fucking wild.
Like, I'm trying to put symbolism to it, but I can't. Like, is it, the death of Arya's training? That doesn't really make sense. Like,
right.
And so, yeah, no.
Well, especially because then Tommen becomes a fan of playing with the kittens.
Yeah,
and it's hard to say, but
pretty much every chapter we've been in King's Landing, there's been a cat pointed out at some point in its own little scene. And I
think part of it's also because we know what the cat's. We basically know what level the cat is at. It's a low-level creature. Arya is capable of taking it on.
Could you stop dying?
Excuse me. Yeah, so Arya is able to take it on because she can catch them, and yet Joffrey still can't manage. Like, and it's sick because he can't even land a killing shot on it. He can pin it, he can manage to hit it, and he'll say that here shortly as well. He's got shit aim because this thing, and nobody can kill it because if they go and do it, Joffrey's gonna get pissed and kill them. And so it's just showing, I think, how terrible of a shot he is. Arya can catch these. She can just run up and grab it.
See, I feel like it could also be something along the lines of reflective of the city itself. Like Arya, when she was catching it, the cats were almost feral in their defense of themselves. And then an old crone was able to catch them, sort of the trickery that's afoot. And then now it's just dying. It's dying, and no one's putting it out of its misery, and it's Joffrey's hand that has done it. And so I'm wondering if it's sort of also a reflection of how the city's current state is.
Yeah, which we'll learn also. But
Sansa steps around it just feeling ill and nauseous about this whole thing.
She's greeted by Dantos, who comes riding up on a little pretend horse because, since he was so drunk he couldn't ride one, Joffrey has commanded he always be mounted on this one.
Get wrecked, dumbass.
And so he kind of gives her a squeeze, whispers, "Be brave," and, prances off.
So right here is, like, this is where you can tell Dantos isn't the savior he's claiming to be. Because when they first met in the forest last chapter in the Godswood, he told her, in public, we have to we can't be seen together. And he is coming up to her and saying, be brave, about the meeting with Joffrey in front of Joffrey, where Joffrey's right. Like, Dantos is a fucking idiot. He's a drunken idiot and doesn't know what he's doing.
A lot of time has passed since that meeting. It's not the next morning.
No, I know it's not the next morning, but it's still...
It's not crazy for him to be the first one to go prancing up to her as she arrives, I think. But to give her a squeeze and to whisper, that's pushing your luck, jackass.
And how much he does here for her, I think that's to illustrate that, he's not following what he even said, which is we can't...
Yeah, I can't
nothing
show any
can
favoritism.
change. I mean, he's trying to protect her and make sure no harm comes to her. But, so he gives her a squeeze. And Joffrey stood in the center of this throng, winding an ornate crossbow. So this is the one Tyrion got him, I would guess. That fires 3. Which also tells you that 1 in 3 crossbow if it fires 3 at a time, 1 hit the cat, the other 2 miss.
Well,
So
that's assuming he's shooting 3 at a time.
I would assume he's shooting 3 at a time. I'm guessing it means he sucks at everything he does.
Exactly.
And with him stood Ser Boros and Ser Meryn, and of course Sansa's like, fuck these guys, and she just immediately falls to her knees before him. And he's, kneeling won't save you now. Stand up. You're here to answer for your brother's latest treasons. And immediately she goes into I had no part in my brother's treasons. He's a traitor. He's a piece of shit. And Joffrey just says, get her out.
Yeah.
Get her out.
So the Hound grabs her up, and he tells Lancel to explain what happened.
The Hound grabs her not ungently.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't wrench her to her feet.
It's been said that way before. Not ungently, the Hound does this.
Guides her, leads her along, yeah. And yeah, immediately Joffrey says, Sir Lancel, tell her of this outrage. Which I think is funny that it's Lancel that he turns to.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Sansa had always thought that Lancel was handsome and well-spoken. But there was neither pity nor kindness in the look that he gave her here.
Yeah, and he basically tells her, he says, using some vile sorcery, your brother fell upon Sir Stafford Lannister with an army of wargs. And do you have rest of the quote? But I mean, basically...
not 3 days. They were really close to Lannisport. Thousands of good men were butchered as they slept. And after the slaughter, the Northmen feasted on the flesh of the slain.
Yeah. Which she is just in terror, because he goes into detail. They grabbed the throats out of Lannister men and fed on their hearts and corpse it and, like, just savage shit. And she's like, what? Because she didn't know her brother was a warg. Like, way to drop that bombshell on her.
Yeah, and Joffrey, I don't think it goes into detail about them eating hearts, does it?
No, not the hearts here, no.
But, yeah, Joffrey's just looking at her, and he's like, you have nothing to say? And Dantos speaks up for her, which is the only time I think it would have been acceptable, where he says, Your Grace, the poor child is shocked witless. And Joffrey's like, shut up, fool. Like, shut the fuck up. And then he lifts the crossbow and points it at her face.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, this is the equivalent of someone lifting a gun and putting it to your face.
Well, that's
and
exactly
he says,
what
you
it is.
Starks are as unnatural as those wolves of yours. I've not forgotten how your monster savaged me. And Sansa immediately is like, that was Arya's wolf. Lady never hurt you, and yet you killed her anyway. And Joffrey just...
No, your father killed her. And I wanted to kill him.
But I killed your father. Yeah, I wish I had done it myself.
And then he starts bragging about how he killed a bigger man than your father last night. He shot him in the throat with an arrow, which was probably by accident. As he was, like, loading it, it slipped off. And then he brags about how he shot another woman as well, but only through the arm. Yeah. So his aim sucks that bad.
And it's nice because Martin does skirt it in there that Joffrey says that they were shouting at the gates for bread like I was some common baker. Like they're just asking for food. Yeah. That's all. And he continues saying, I'd shoot you too, but Mother says if I do, they'd kill my Uncle Jaime. Instead, you'll be punished and word will be sent to your brother. And then he tells the Hound, dog, hit her. And
this is where Dantos jumps in.
Immediately. Let me beat her.
Yeah, he's got a stick with a melon.
A morning star with a melon for the head. Yeah, and he begins fucking pummeling her with it.
Which is, I think, not out of craziness.
No, I don't.
It is embarrassing. It is.
Yeah. This is the part that I would understand where he steps in to make sure she's not getting beat. The whole be brave thing was just, to me, the drunken idiot in him. But and he begins hitting her until the melon breaks apart.
And she's thanking him in her head though for this,
and praying.
If there's any chance that Joffrey laughs, then she's good.
And that's what she's praying for is laugh, Joffrey. Please just fucking be satisfied with this.
Nah.
Nope. And he just, Boros, Meryn, and they immediately fling fucking Dantos off, and Boros sees Sansa, and Joffrey just says, leave her face, I like her pretty, and Boros just fucking gut punches her, driving the air out of her, and as she doubles over, he grabs his sword, and she's like, oh shit, he's gonna just straight kill me, but he lays the fucking smacks the flat of his blade against her thighs.
For those who have seen the show, this is almost perfectly represented in the one that they do. I think it's season 3 where this happens. But yeah, down to even the Tyrion entrance, there's only one minor detail.
They did actually. I think they kind of
toned it down
toned
a
it
little
down
bit.
in the show
Because,
because
the nakedness.
she
and,
screams, and it says she lost count of the blows. So he
Yeah.
didn't just hit her the once. He's fucking hitting her.
Wailing on her backside.
And she even heard the Hound say, enough. And Joffrey said, no, it isn't. Boros make her naked. And he just, with one hand. And I mean, like it says, he reaches down the front of her chest and then fucking tears it.
Well, that's it. In the show, she, in credit to Sophie, Turner for not revealing her front.
Yeah.
But she didn't get revealed in the show.
Yeah.
In this, she's bare chest
to the waist.
yeah. It's savage. It's brutal.
So, she covers her breasts with her hands the best she could. She can hear some laughter coming from the Bailey now. And Joffrey just says, beat her bloody. Like, just more, and then cutting like a whip. What is the meaning of this?
And so I don't think that this was, as much as I love Dinklage, I don't think he's as sharp or, just as savage himself.
Yeah, I think
Very
the
brutal.
disfiguredness of Tyrion helps add to these book quotes and these book monologues he goes on. Sansa stumbles to her knees, covering herself. She notices that his pet sellsword stood with him and one of his wildlings who had a fucked up eye.
Yeah, so Timett, son of Timmett's with them, as well as Bronn.
And Tyrion says, what sort of knight beats helpless maids? And Boros, the sword who serves his king imp. And he raises his sword, and Meryn steps up with him, drawing his. And Bronn, just fucking careful with those. You wouldn't want to get blood all over your pretty white cloaks. And Tyrion immediately says, someone give the girl something to cover herself with. And
which the Hound does immediately.
Sandor unfastens his white cloak and tosses it to her. And
I like the way that she describes it, how it's very coarse and thick, and it's still finer than any
itchy
velvet.
wool, it's itchy fucking wool.
Finer than any velvet he's ever worn.
And Tyrion tells Joffrey, she is to be your queen. Have you no regard for her honor? And Joffrey, I'm punishing her.
For what crime? And Joffrey tries telling, for her brother being a fucking jerk, because I suck.
She has the blood of a wolf, and you have the wits of a goose. Like,
Suck
Tyrion
it.
just fucking gets him here, and I love it. You can't talk to me that way. The king can do as he likes. Aerys Targaryen did as he liked. Did your mother ever tell you what happened to him? Like, fucking,
One after the next.
And Boros fucking bristles at that. No one threatens the king. And again, the show nailed it with the shut the fuck up. I'm not threatening the king. I'm educating my nephew. Bronn, Timett, he speaks again. Kill him. See? There's the threat.
But in this one, he smiles wickedly, as opposed to the show where he keeps a straight face, and so I really like the delivery of this.
Yeah, the mismatched eyes.
See, that was a threat. See the difference?
And then he just basically asks, because Boros says the queen will hear of this, and Tyrion says, yes, she should. Should we send for her right fucking now? And Joffrey, shit, he's gonna get mom.
No.
And then Tyrion turns it on him. Nothing to say, your grace, which Tyrion wasn't in the throne room when Joffrey said that to Sansa, pointing nothing to say, but it gets immediately reversed on him. Good, learn to use your ears more and mouth less, so your reign will be shorter than I am. Brutality is no way to win your people's love. Or your queens. And
so he tells them, get her out of here now. And she's kind of like in this, basically it is a dream state.
She's in shock. She just got fucking beaten and stripped in front of the whole court.
Point where all the adrenaline's leaving your body, you're numb. She says it's a dreamlike state. And so she has no idea where she's going. Because at first she was thinking her room and then realizes, oh no. The Hand's Tower. And then it clicks. This is the first time she's been here since Ned's died.
Ned's fall from grace. Amazing grace. And with that, I think we'll go to our small council.
I like that very
before
much.
Sansa gets stripped and cleaned.
Okay.
All right, we're going to convene our small council. We'll catch you in a minute. Objection, counselors.
We're in... What? I'm all thrown off with that. I guess you're objecting to our small council?
Council's in session.
Yeah, clearly.
What up? We just want to throw our small council at you. Just let you know where you can reach us online on the tweets, on the Twitter nets, on the Twitters. I have Twitter on the brain. Yeah, you can reach us on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Carstark92. Nate's on Twitter at Manners Without. We're heavily involved in the March Madness right now, A Song of Madness, and it's a blasty.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. I think most people tend to just write us an email, though, which is withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/withoutmanners. We wanted to mention, let's see, a listener who wrote lots and lots of comments.
Yeah, YouTube has been popping off lately, and we really appreciate that. We try to get them up there for just another medium to listen to or through, and so we appreciate all the feedback we're getting on YouTube.
Yeah, if we don't comment on YouTube, it's just because we're so busy.
We do see it, we check them, we read them, but we sometimes just forget to respond to them. So we wanted to shout some out.
This one is for Amelia, who... it was a while ago, but on a Sansa chapter. She just loves our podcast so much. We love that you love it.
We love that you love it.
And really love how we were able to empathize with Sansa here and put it all into perspective. Now, this is a chapter from Game of Thrones that she's writing about, but she does say she knows a lot of readers strongly dislike Sansa in Game of Thrones, but she really can't dislike her when every single thing she does, she basically did as an 11-year-old.
Amelia,
also.
Thank you for writing in. Thank you for the YouTube comment. It's really funny that we get so much, I don't want to say praise because I don't want to jerk ourselves off here, but a lot of people say that, you guys are really cool with Sansa. You don't give her shit. You kind of understand. And that's completely reversed.
Like,
from
we
how,
feel like we do give her a lot of shit all the time.
My first couple read-throughs, I hated her for every reason that I've stated in here. I'm not, and I don't say that because I'm hypocritical, because I've just grown to understand that Sansa's a really good, complex character.
Yeah, it's how I feel
and
about Brienne.
I was looking at her simplistically and thinking, oh, she's just a dumb girl, when really she's more fucking mature at 12 than I am at 27. So... It's funny to hear people be like, oh yeah, you really helped my perspective on Sansa, because that's the last thing I ever expected to fucking hear described about us talking about Sansa.
Shit.
So thank you, Amelia, for writing in. We just wanted to shout you out.
Yeah, so if you like what you hear, write into us. Get us your inductees for for all the chapters, any chapters. Please leave us a rate and review.
Yeah.
Subscribe. You can go to ratethispodcast.com/brotherhood. Otherwise, Apple Podcasts, reviews,
and,
please.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. We'll let you get back to Sansa. Sansa, I have a secret for you.
Sansa, let me smash.
Oh, Jesus, Creeper Baelish.
Creeper Baelish. He's not in this chapter,
No,
sadly.
he's not. That's
But
good.
anyway, as she arrives in a room, she's not really sure
she's
where.
handed over to serving girls who bathe her, clean her, and wash her hair, get her all done up.
As they did, all she could see was the kind of random faces in the Bailey, all the knights and lords who watched and laughed, and knights are sworn to defend the weak, she thought, protect women, but none of them did a thing. Only Ser Dantos, and he was no longer a knight, no more than the imp or the hound, and the hound hated knights.
So these three people are the ones that she
The imp,
lists.
the hound, and Ser Dantos.
And so I made
the
a note.
fool, the twisted little demon monkey, and the
knight.
dog, the hound.
The knight, yeah.
I mean,
I put a note later on, actually, but it applies here that she's really got this thing with not using people's names.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of, and it's funny because you said the demon monkey, she demonizes everybody.
Yeah.
And it's, the hound, this
uses
vicious,
their worst
hateful,
title, yeah.
terrible dude, but he's got this side, and the imp, this gross, demented, twisted creature, but all three of them are the ones, regardless of how drunken and selfish Dantos is, he does feel for Sansa in some ways. And
I mean, she calls Dantos her Florian.
Right.
Like the one from the song, which is funny because Dantos is the most incapable of those three. But Sansa notes that, yes, and the Hound hated knights, and she thinks, I hate them too. They are no true knights, not one of them. Which is just an interesting turn for her. I hate them too, these knights here in the city.
Yeah.
They're not real knights.
Yeah, it's intense.
At least the ones in the Bailey. But Master Franken showed up eventually and tended her legs and gave her some dream wine with honey, saying, Sleep, child. When you wake, this will all seem a bad dream.
No, it won't, you stupid man.
But she chugged that wine and slept.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I don't even see her reaction as petulant. Like, it's no longer a dream.
Well,
like, dreams are sweet, old man.
Right.
Like,
well, that's it. I think that she's he's telling her this, oh, it'll be all okay. And she knows she's going to wake up. She's still going to be in King's Landing. She's still going to have to deal with Joffrey.
Yeah.
She's going to have to worry
Another
about more
beating,
beatings soon.
yeah.
Like, shut up, dumbass.
Yeah.
And she has every right to, because he is. He's just this stupid man.
Yeah.
This Meister who doesn't have to worry about this kind of shit, never has had to worry about it. Like, go fuck off, Meister Franken. Little fucking, fuck you and your salves and shit.
It was dark when she woke, and the room was both strange and familiar. She tries to rise, but feels a huge stab of pain in her legs that fill her eyes with tears.
And also remind her of where the fuck she's at.
Yeah.
Like, it brings her back to, oh yeah, I was beaten half to death and brought to the Tower of the Hand.
Yeah. So you had said a couple days passed. I don't think long passed here.
No,
at
I
all.
think you're right. I think I overestimated
I think that happened early in the morning-ish,
Yeah.
and then she fucking crashed, and then woke up around like 6 or 8. One of those
Absolutely.
crazy late day naps
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
wake up and you're like, fuck.
What the fuck am What time is it?
What day is
Am
it?
I late for work on Monday?
Yeah, exactly.
Son of a...
And she runs to the door and opens it, and outside is one of Tyrion's wildlings, but a woman. Chella. And she tells her, Halfman says you want to leave. You can pray here. The gods will hear you, because she asks to go down to the Gods' Wood.
I really like that. I like that they're one of Tyrion's wild clansmen. It's a wildling. They're very wildling-esque. They're the southern wildlings is what they are. And just that idea, similar to Osha up in Winterfell.
Yeah.
And she's like, boy, you just need to listen. The gods are there and talking.
Yeah.
And so it's very cool I just thought, here in King's Landing, she's like, no, you don't have to go to the Gods' Wood to pray.
Yeah.
Not for praying, you don't.
And then, like a bad acid trip flashback, she suddenly realizes that she's been put in Arya's old room.
Yeah.
All the shit's different. The furniture's moved. Arya's stuff is obviously out, but this was Arya's old room. And a serving girl brings some food and water, but Sansa immediately is like, send it away, but then ends up drinking a ton of the water and nibbling at some of the olives.
I want olives.
Tyrion knocks and enters, and basically he's as polite as he can be, and she asks if she's his prisoner, and
my guess.
Yeah, he says
You're
guess.
not here against your will.
And Sansa finds it hard not to stare at him, which I love this quality in Sansa with these monsters that she deals
she's
with.
just gonna...
Where the Hound, she looks at him a lot and is terrified by the face, but also curious. She's got this morbid curiosity about
I think that scrutiny from her puts them almost at ease where they're willing to talk to her
She's willing to
softly.
look at them, yeah. And his face was so ugly, it had held a queer fascination for her. And I just, it's interesting that she's fascinated by it. She's not horrified by Tyrion, but...
Yeah, and he's here, he says because he feels that he at least owes her an explanation as to why Joffrey was so pissed off.
Yeah.
And he explains that they're...
So we get the real story, not coded in bullshit and rumors.
Sir Stafford Lannister, who we know from a while back, I believe is Tywin's brother-in-law,
was raising the hosts
there at Casterly Rock of all the Green Boys, miners, whoever else was left. Well, Robb had found a way to sneak into their camp and attack them all, and they slaughtered them.
Yeah,
took
6 nights ago.
And listed off a bunch of High Lords that were taken captive, and as well as hundreds of other captives. Like, they just decimated this group.
Hearing this, Sansa thinks Robb will kill you all. And she asks, Sir Lancel said he was led by wargs, and Tyrion, it said the imp gave a disdainful bark of laughter. And I think the disdain comes from Lancel.
Yeah.
And he says, Lancel's a wineskin warrior, doesn't know a warg from a wart. Your brother had his wolf with him, but I believe that is the extent of it. And he says, he kind of lays it out as to where the rumor came from. The Northmen snuck in, cut the horse line, and Lord Stark sent his wolf in among the chaos. So, yeah, I'm sure people were like, there were wolves running everywhere.
You have the horses coupled with a wolf actually in there going nuts.
We've seen with Arya just with fire. When Arya was in the barn and the horses were fucking mad with
crazy.
Fucking fear, and they were stomping
Not
around.
to mention we've seen the effects that one wolf, 2 or 3, if we think that Nymeria was there in the Whispering Woods.
Yeah.
We see that effect on a battle, how they think that there's tons. Even Catelyn thought that there was some, and she's on the side of them.
So, yeah, we get Lancel's bullshit rumor-coded one, and then Tyrion's. And then I just list the lords. Sir Stafford was slain by Rickard Karstark, which is significant for the Karstark blood with the Lannister feud. Sir Rupert Brox is dead, along with Lyman Vickery and Lord Crakehall and Lord Jast. 100 more, as you said, are captives. Those who survived spread the wild tales. And Sansa says, so, no sorcery? And Tyrion says, sorcery is the sauce, Sorcery is the sauce fools spoon over their failures to hide their own incompetence. My uncle, seemingly foolishly, hadn't placed any sentries. His host was raw, boys and field hands and miners. The only mystery is how Robb had reached him. We still hold the golden tooth, and the men there swear he did not pass. So,
no, this is really interesting and cool that they're so blind by this, because we won't learn right away, but Grey Wind is what led them to Sir Stafford, because he found them goat trails and they were all able to sneak right past the Lannister forces to Sir Stafford. And so I just think it's interesting how that piece of information is what did it.
Yeah.
And we'll learn that that's what they utilized to do it.
The imp shrugged. Robb Stark is my father's bane. Joffrey is mine. And he asks her how she feel. How do you feel about him? And she says, I love him with all of my heart. And Tyrion laughed. Someone taught you to lie well.
Which is the second time that's been brought up this
You
chapter.
may be grateful for that one day. And he asks her pretty brazenly if she's flowered yet, and she blushes and thinks it was a rude question, but nothing compared to being stripped bare before half the castle, and answers him, no, my lord, so she hasn't yet. And he says, that's good. If it gives you any solace, I do not intend that you ever wed Joff. No marriage will reconcile Stark and Lannister after all that's happened, more the pity. The match was one of Robert's better notions, till Joffrey mucked it all up. So... we've got the Hound telling her you need to learn how to lie better.
Yeah.
Everyone here lies better than you. And then a chapter later, we get Tyrion saying someone taught you to lie well. So is that just an improvement, or is Tyrion wrong?
A few things. I think it's been a bit of time since then, so I do think there is improvement.
Yeah.
I also think that part of this is that her, at this point with that specific sentiment, her conviction behind it is able to be pushed through. It's not an improv question. It's one of her scripted ones. It's her go-to. So she knows how to say that one quick
Arya's
and
prayer,
easy.
yeah.
Yeah, and so I also do, because she says here in a minute that when she feels confident, right here actually, about Robb beating Tywin. You know, because it'll be Robb. She thinks, because he asks what she prays for, and she says she prays for the fighting to stop. And then he goes, well, Robb and Tywin are going to be meeting soon, and the war will be over, all that. And she gets excited because she thinks about this last battle at Oxford Cross, where Stafford was killed. And he goes, don't let that, and it says in the text, he reads her like she was an open book.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that he's buying her lies, obviously. He knows that that's bullshit, her saying, I love Joffrey with all my heart.
Obviously.
And so he knows that it's a lie, but it's fairly convincing for what she's got. And so I think he's just complimenting how well she is pushing it out, even though he completely knows it's horseshit.
And then the second part of that is just, you may be grateful for that one day. And I think of Elaine, I think of Littlefinger.
100%.
Like all
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I thought of that too.
And so, she really has nothing to say to him saying that she won't have to marry Joffrey. And he asks if that's what she wants. And she begins to wonder if this is some Lannister trick. If she tells him the truth, is she going to be punished for it?
She doesn't know how to answer to this.
I only want to be loyal, she answers. And he says, loyal and far from any Lannisters, and I can't blame you that. When I was your age, I wanted the same. And he says, they tell me you visit the Godswood every day. What do you pray for, my lady? Well, like bold, Tyrion, bold. You don't ask people what they pray for.
And again, she's very clever on, I can't say that I pray for my brother to slaughter you and your family and that you get murdered in your sleep.
She does think it. I pray for Robb's victory, Joff's death, and home. I pray for Winterfell, she thinks. And then she tells him, I pray for an end to the fighting, which is...
It's very diplomatic.
It's fucking right down the middle, man. And he says, yeah, we'll have that soon. Another battle between Robb and my father will settle the issue.
And this is where it says, like I mentioned earlier, like he sees me like an open book. Like he sees the look on my face.
My father, Lord Tywin, is no Sir Stafford. Do not take too much heart in Oxcross, my lady. And he says that tonight you could stay here this evening and blah, 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 have my stone crows guard you. And she immediately blurts out, no! Because she's like, if I'm guarded, how the fuck is Dantos going to get me out this bitch?
Right.
How we going to split dip? And so he offers Chella instead, saying, the wildlings are pretty scary people, so maybe a woman companion. And she says, no, the wildlings just frighten me altogether.
Yeah, and he's like, well, that's good. They also frighten Joffrey. And
all his spittled king guard.
She comes out with a great little lie to get her out of it. Half of my house and family were slaughtered in this tower. Their ghosts will haunt me to nightmares. I can't stay here tonight.
And the line said, a lie came to her suddenly, but it seemed right, so she blurted it out at once. This is an instinctual
gut.
Bah.
Yeah.
And Tyrion's like, oh shit. And it says, Tyrion studied her face. I am no strangers to nightmares myself, Lady Stark. Perhaps you are wiser than I knew. Permit me at least to see you safely back to your chambers. And that is where we end Sansa 3.
Now, do you think his study, it's not a question of the nightmares, but he's like, I know that's another lie. That's a very good lie.
I think that's what it is. I think I don't think she's plotting something. I think she doesn't want to accept or be near any of us.
Yeah.
And so I think he's like, yeah, she wants to be back in her own room, isolated, but the lie she told to do so is fucking spot on.
Yeah, very convincing, fits
the
suiting.
Scenario, fits her dopey little, my lady, my lord, I love my Joffrey type ditzy girl that she's playing now at this point, because Sansa obviously isn't the character she's portraying to all these different... So you got an inductee for this one?
Yeah, see, I'm having trouble deciding between Tyrion, Bronn, the Hound, and Timett, just because they're the four that helped Sansa as she was getting beaten. I guess Dantos would be included in there, but I think I'm going to go with the coupling of Bronn and Timett, just because they're the enforcers, man, and like they technically are the reason that Boros didn't fucking beat Tyrion as well.
Yeah,
they're the reason that Trant didn't. And
Bronn straight up got like a sunglasses quote.
He fucking mic dropped this shit.
Yeah,
like he was straight up like, "What are you gonna do about it? What's up? What's up?" And like Tyrion threatening them, like to where they did not say another fucking word because Bronn and Timett wouldn't have.
Timett, yeah. You don't say like shit like that around Timett. There is no.
Yeah, that's that. If you speak, you're dead.
There's no half cocked with Timett.
And so yeah, I'm gonna bring both of them in.
Word. Mine's going to Robb for the background fucking brilliance that, like, as you said, I had to look it up as to how it was he crossed the golden tooth, because I was like, wait, if they still hold it, how did he? And I read about the goat trails as well, and it's fucking awesome. It's such it's such a northern way to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
The wolf comes in clutch, and then to hear it through Lancel's point of view, where like he basically tell of them, the Northmen turned into fucking wolves and charged in and killed them all, but there was just Grey Wind.
And because Tyrion was the one that brought it up, that one of them rumored that the horses or the hearts were being fed to Grey Wind, and that none of it was true at all.
No, it's the crazy rumors, but I like that it almost still gives Grey Wind credit where it's due.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it wouldn't have happened without him finding the trails, and so the fact that it's kind of building up around Grey Wind is being this savage fight.
Yep.
So Robb Stark for fucking getting one over on Stafford Lannister, man.
Over all the Lannisters.
Overall,
Tywin, really, for getting that battle under the belt.
Yeah. So we did get an inductee from our friend in France, Julian.
He
says French fry speaking. This whole chapter... Sorry, let me start again. So this chapter shows us who's an asshole and who's not an asshole. That's pretty straightforward. I remember that passage from the TV show when Joffrey has Sansa publicly shamed and beaten and Tyrion intervenes. It was well rendered. Moreover, I really enjoyed the simple-minded, for now, questioning of Sansa about Tyrion. Is he good news or just a Lannister trap? Also,
It's a trap!
it's a trap. She seems to have learned to lie better than before, at least to hide her true emotion. Last chapter, the Hound was drunk as hell and still picked up on the lie immediately. Tyrion can read her thought, but, Jesus Christ, I'm butchering your email, Julian. Sorry. Tyrion can still read right through her, but he is the best at it. As for my inductee this time, it's going to be the Hound again. He's comely with Sansa, not friendly, but open enough so she can understand a warning or a reassuring thought. Plus, he did want Boros to stop, even if he cannot really oppose the king's order for now. I see why he hates knighthood and doesn't want to become one in this context. Well, as always, he's welcome to become a brother here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good one there, Valor Harris. Thanks, Julian.
We love it.
The
Thank
Hound
you.
is
Wonderful.
always a good one to pick,
Yeah,
especially in the Sansa chapters.
I wanted to pick him too because, like I said, he was in that grouping of 5. I went with the other 2 that helped out because they got a little more attention, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for writing in. Remember, you can always write in. We gave our socials during the small council. And
Yeah, that was Sansa 3.
Yeah,
so.
it was a good one. Next one we are reading will be Catelyn 4.
Yeah.
Cat 4.
And that's going to be the
death
end of
Renly.
Renly Baratheon. It's a good chapter.
Zach's probably going to eat cake during that episode.
Yep, I will enjoy it. And then we should be having a pretty exciting announcement coming up here soon.
Yeah, valid. That's pretty
about maybe potentially yours truly, Nate and I, appearing on another podcast. But until we get the deets lined down and knocked down, tied down, hammered out, ironed out, that's all we'll say on it for the moment.
Yeah, that's.
But hopefully some updates soon on that, and then it'll be Catelyn 4, Renly's death coming at you next.
Sweet.
So
John
join us
is
for that.
after that. John 4 after Catelyn. So read those, get us your inductees, and we will catch you on the next one.
Valor Harris.
Peace.